Today I will be using a full team of Pokemon based on pride flags. This might be the prettiest pride flag I've ever seen in my life. If you have an idea for a Pokemon team, be sure to comment below, and I will use it. And if you like this kind of content, feel free to subscribe. Now let's get right into the battles. Good morning, afternoon, and evening, lovely people. Today I am using a pride flag team. This is it, the big 50. We're now at 54 pride flags. That is just wild to me. Thank you all so much. And since this is episode 9, we're very close to hitting double digits on this series and getting closer to the penultimate goal of 100 pride flags. So, as always, if this video gets 25 likes, I will do a 10th pride flag team. Oh my gosh. So, this is a legendary team as well, because this is the 50th one, right? So, I'm leading things off here with Demifluid, which is a special Necrozma Dusk main, which I really didn't have much switches to versus this Caterpie Shadow Rider, which is obviously a big threat. So I thought, okay, I should just go for the Earth Power and break its Sash, potentially, but it ends up being a leftover. So I was like, okay, well, I do have something to deal with this Pokemon. Now, I mentioned that I have a legendary team, but I have a little Appleton here for the Aeroflux flag. So I'm running an offensive Appleton with Sucker Punch and Expert Belt, so I'm able to take up the Caterpie Shadow Rider. Now, this was amazing. So they're gonna bring in Koraidon now. Like I said, this team had to face on like full-on like Ubers and like legendary Pokemon. So I'm gonna have Terra Fairy on this Appleton, and this Appleton also has Terra Blast to deal with like Koraidon and like Miraidon and all the Dragon types. So they're gonna go for the Collision Course. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I resist it. I'm running max health on this as well. So I'm going to be able to go for the Terra Blast versus this Koraidon. And I'm max attack Adamant. And it's going to be 4 times super effective. And that's going to take out the Koraidon. Appleton claims 2 KOs versus legendaries, mind you. So now it comes Miraidon. I was like, okay, well, this thing is easily going to take me out with an Electro Drift. So I'm just going to get my chip damage with a Sucker Punch before they take me out. But what a masterclass performance by Appleton. Also, I will say, if there's any pride flags that I haven't done yet that you would like to see on a Pokemon team like this, please comment them below, because there are definitely some that I am missing that I will get to. So, it's a Zamazenta here for the Ambi Amory flag. Now, I thought this Pokemon matched the best with like the red and blue and the black. I have this fully defensive Zamazenta with like max defense and max speed. So yeah, I'm gonna get taken out by Electro Drift, but I thought that's fine. Not the Zacian, what the heck? The Miraidon is Life Orb, so they should be able to take themselves out with their own Life Orb damage. So thankfully the Body Press put them in range. Now, it took my own Koraidon here for the CINTHEAN pride flag. I'll offer an explanation for all of these pride flags and identities in the box down below, as always. So I've ran this set before. This is a special Meteor Beam Koraidon with the Power Herb. So yeah, I'm running some really interesting sets on this team, since I'm using such broken, overpowered legendary Pokemon, right? So the Dragonite is gonna go for the Dragon Dance. I was like, it's like, obviously I broke its multi-scale, but I'm not sure if it has Roost, and the best thing that I have to hit this with is Focus Blast, which yeah, it doesn't take it out, and worse than that, it ends up having Roost. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go for some raw Meteor Beams versus this thing. Try to get it to a point where it, like, I keep boosting my special attack, and then I keep doing more and more damage to this thing. I'm running Focus Blast. I also have Terra Blast Fairy on this set as well. And the last move I have on this is Fire Blast. So I actually don't have a Dragon type move this time around. So they're gonna go for the Extreme Speed. That does less than half to me, which I was like, okay, that's okay. I'm gonna get off a really strong Meteor Beam versus this thing, and I'm gonna go for another Meteor Beam, anticipating that they might want to Roost this turn, which they do end up doing. So I'm gonna raise my special attack, and they're just gonna recover their health. So I was like, okay, well, this Meteor Beam is gonna really hurt. Like, they're out of multi-scale range as well. So firing off that Meteor Beam, and that's gonna take out the Dragonite. I was like, okay, that's great. The special Koraidon is doing a lot of damage at this point. So in comes Conkeldurr. I was like, okay, interesting to see Conkeldurr, but it's gonna get absolutely Focus Blasted into oblivion. And the last Pokemon is the Crowned Zamazenta. So I was like, okay, well, if this Pokemon terrestrializes, even though I'm at like +2 special attack, they should be able to live like anything, right? Just because this Pokemon has like gargantuan bulk. So they're going to be terrifying on their Zamazenta, and I'm going to go for the Focus Blast. Man, I'm landing all these Focus Blasts, and that's going to do a lot of damage, but like I thought, it doesn't take out the Zamazenta. So they're going to go for the Body Press, and that's easily going to be enough to take me out because this Pokemon has like huge defense, but they're on a low amount of health, and I have this Lunala. Oh my god. The NBN flag, it's for non-binary loving non-binary individuals, right? I'm like speechless when it comes to this pride flag. Like, it is so... I am someone that's really biased to like celestial things, or like stars and like space and everything. So like this flag is just like so good, and Lunala is like perfect for it. So that's the end of that first game. On to the second game. Now this game, oh my god. So leading things off with my Necrozma. So this is a special Necrozma. I have a Calm Mind Photon Geyser Earth Power set on this with Morning Sun. So they're going to swap out the Magearna into their Giratina, and they're going to go for Shadow Force. So I was like, okay, well, you know, I don't have the best switch-ins to that, and like, I have my Zamazenta, but my Zamazenta isn't running like Crunch or anything. I'm running, that set is running Roar and like Iron Defense Body Press and like Heavy Slam, I think. So I'm gonna go for the Photon Geyser. I'm able to tank the Shadow Force just because of my ability, but then they tried Destiny Bonding me, so I was like, oh, it's a good thing that I went for the Morning Sun this turn, healing off my health. So I was like, you know, I kind of expected some Destiny Bond type of move to come out from this Giratina. So I was like, okay, well, you know, Shadow Force is good for me just because it's like a 2-turn charging move, so I'm always able to take advantage of that fact. So if they did go for Shadow Force that next turn, I was just going to be able to heal instead of like not attacking anything. So I'm going to go for the Photon Geyser and take out the Giratina. I'm happy that I didn't get Destiny Bonded by that thing. So they're going to bring in the Zacian next, but it's like Zacian without its swords. I was like, ooh, interesting. So they're going to go for the Crunch. Oh, I'm able to live that just barely. I'm running a max health on this thing. So I'm going to get some big Photon Geyser damage versus this Zacian, and they're easily going to take me out with the Crunch next turn. So I thought, you know, I'm going to bring in my own dog without its item, right? So I have this Zamazenta here. Like I said, I believe I'm running Terra Steel on this Zamazenta as well. It's pretty interesting because it's like max defense and like max speed. So I'm able to like outspeed and go for like some big body presses and just like boost my defense even further with Iron Defense. And I have leftovers, obviously, to continuously recover my health. So there goes the Zacian. I was like, okay, that's good. But it comes to Rayquaza. Now this Rayquaza. So I thought, well, if they're Dragon Dance, if they're Sash, that's gonna be a problem. But I should be able to live a Dragon Ascent and like roar it out potentially. But they're gonna be a fully special Rayquaza with Hurricane, which they land. So I was like, okay, well, there goes my Zamazenta. But at the very least, I can revenge KO this with my my Meteor Beam Koraidon with the Sun. Now, even though I have the Sun up, Rayquaza has Airlock, which is going to obviously go around the 50% accuracy on the Hurricane. So I'm gonna go for that Power Herb Meteor Beam, but I end up missing. I was like, oh man, that sucks, because I would have gotten a +1 special attack, and that absolutely would have taken out Rayquaza. So dang, they land another Hurricane, and that takes out my Koraidon. So I was like, okay, well, it's time for me to bring in my Eternatus. Now, I haven't explained this, but this is the Ace Flux flag. So I have the Ace Flux flag, and I have the Aero Flux flag on this team. So I thought this Pokemon had like the best representation with its colors. It's also an event Eternatus, so I wasn't able to nickname it as well. So this is a physical Eternatus with Dragon Dance. So I'm running a Gunshot, Outrage, and Terra Blast Ground on this, but I didn't want to go for Outrage versus this thing just because we had the Magearna in the back, which was easy setup fodder. So I went for Gunshot, but Gunshot misses. No, why? I missed it. So get this: they land 2 Hurricanes, they land a Blizzard, and they take me out. And I missed Gunshot and like Meteor Beam before. What is happening to me right now? This is so bad. I used up my Terra for that too. So the Rayquaza is gonna go for the Hurricane. They're gonna break my Shadow Shield. They're still landing all these moves, by the way. So now it's time for me to explain the Envious flag. I can't get over how pretty this flag is. So this is a fully specially defensive Lunala. I have heavy duty boots, so I could like maintain my Shadow Shield ability. They landed another Blizzard, by the way. I have to heal off this damage because it's doing a lot of damage to me. So this is Moonlight. I have Moonlight as my recovery move. I'm running a Will-O-Wisp Hex Lunala, so I could like deal with like physical attackers. They land another Blizzard, by the way, and I'm gonna be able to take out the Rayquaza with the Hex finally. But oh my god, that thing was so lucky versus me. So they're gonna bring in the Eternatus. Now I thought, well, this Lunala actually has a really good matchup into the rest of their team, just because they're all special attackers, right? So maybe I should be able to come back with this Pokemon solely. So the Eternatus is gonna go for the Dynamax Cannon versus me, and I thought that they would go for a Toxic. That would have been really, really bad, but they're gonna bring in the Kyogre now. So I was like, okay, well, obviously the only thing I really could do is like Will-O-Wisp, because with Will-O-Wisp and Hex, like that's like my best damage output. I'm not running any special attack investment on this. I'm also running Terra Normal on this set as well to deal with like ghost type moves like Calyrex Shadow Rider, for example, or like Flutter Mane. So I'm gonna go for another Hex that does huge damage, but obviously Kyogre has great massive special defense. But they're gonna go for the Thunder Wave, and they're actually gonna opt to paralyze me. So I'm like, okay, well, that makes things slightly more annoying. I may not be able to get off my attacks, but I should be able to still like tank hits from all their Pokemon. So they're gonna go for the Origin Pulse. Finally, they miss an attack, and I'm gonna be able to go for the Hex and take out that Kyogre. I was like, okay, that's really good. I probably would have taken a lot of damage from the Origin Pulse, and I wouldn't have been at my Shadow Shield either. So now they're gonna bring in the Bagheera. Now this part I'm gonna speed up because, first of all, I get paralyzed like 3 turns in a row. What is happening? So, and second of all, this Bagheera really couldn't do a lot of damage to me just because of the fact that I'm like fully specially defensive, right? So they have like Fleur Cannon and like Energy Ball on their set, and with the special attack drops that they get, I finally get the burn, by the way. They're not going to be able to do much of anything to me. So I thought, I could stall this thing like forever, honestly. And there was at a point where I believe they used 5 Fleur Cannon power points, and like they ran out of PP. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to teleport out of here and bring in my my Appleton, because I saw that they had Energy Ball, they had Gyro Ball, and they had Fleur Cannon. But I assumed that they ran out of Fleur Cannon power points just because they went for Gyro Ball versus my Appleton. Now, I'm running a Stopping Tantrum on this. Also, I have a Seed Bomb on the set as well. And that's going to do a lot of damage to the Bagheera, so I'm going to be able to get another KO with the Appleton. I was like, I really want to bring this Pokemon in and like face off versus legendary Pokemon. It's such a good Pokemon, especially for the Aeroflux flag. So the last Pokemon is the Eternatus. It's also a shiny Eternatus. I thought, okay, well, I'm probably going to get taken out here by the Dynamax Cannon, so I'm just going to go for the Sucker Punch. But they went for Venom Shock, and I don't even get taken out by that. I was like, oh my gosh. I understand why they did that. I think Eterna Beam, but that move's not even in the game anymore. But I think Dynamax Cannon also has like 5 power points, so maybe they wanted to conserve that for my Lunala. So they're going to go for another Venom Shock. I think that was probably a misclick, so I'm going to get off Will-O-Wisp versus this thing. So I thought, the best damage output that I can do is like burn this and then like not Will-O-Wisp, I just did that. Hex this thing, and yeah. So they're going to actually end up terrestrializing this turn. So I was like, okay, well, I don't know what Terra this is going to be, and they're going to end up being Terra Dragon. So I was like, okay, they're going to go for that Terra Dragon boosted Dynamax Cannon, which is going to do a lot of damage because of Eternatus's special attack. So they're going to go for the Dynamax Cannon, and I am max special defense, so I am able to take that, but thankfully I don't get paralyzed. I was very worried about getting paralyzed. I think they needed a critical hit. I end up getting the crit versus the Eternatus, and that's going to be the end of both games. Thank you all so much for watching. Honestly, this Lunala might be the best Pokemon I ever used in all of these Pride Flag videos. My name is SkyLaaa. Don't forget to smile, and I will see you all next time.